Hello everyone, I would like to welcome you to World Civilization 107. And I just want to let you know that I'm very excited about this subject, and I think it's very, very important. When I was in high school, I actually did not enjoy taking history, and I don't think I ever would have imagined that I would become a history major. But as you get older, as in basically becoming an adult and actually like really being engaged with the world, it's hard to see how knowing history isn't relevant to everything that we do. And if you haven't caught the bug yet to be interested in history, I'm hoping to help you catch it. Just take a look at where we're at now. The United States government is basically one of the world's largest powers currently. Every once in a while, I hear people afraid that China or Russia is competing with us. Well, they're competing, yes, but if you look at terms of bases around the world and the reach that the United States has, for better or for worse, there's really no comparison. And there's a conservative historian named Neil Ferguson that was asked if the U.S. was an empire. And he basically scoffed and he said, that's only a question basically that Americans can't seem to deal with. He said if it, walks like a duck, talks like a duck, and acts like a duck, guess what? It's probably a duck. And his little rant that he gives is basically, of course America is an empire. And yet that is a controversial statement to many Americans. Now look, this isn't a U.S. history class, and I'm not here to be deliberately provocative. You don't have to buy into the fact that America is an empire or not. But what you will see is that the United States is fully engaged in a world that many of us just are not aware of. And what I'm hoping is this. It doesn't have to be for that reason. It could be actually because you just want to expose yourself to the vast varieties of culture and experience that different people have had throughout time. In any case, what I'm trying to tell you is that it's important and it has value, and especially now with all of the current wars that's happened and that will probably be continuing to happen, it might help ground us a little bit more in being aware and more thoughtful about those things. Now, again, having said that, I try not to have my history be taught in an overly ideological way. And I want you all to be comfortable that regardless of your ideologies or your interpretation about history, that you realize that as my students, I grade everything based on you following instructions and giving me quality work, not based on your ideas about those things. So when I call for your opinion, I've always heard these horror stories. Well, I've been a college student. I know some people grade you based on how close you are to the professor's politics or ideas. That doesn't work that way with me. Be comfortable. Now, having said that, with our discussions, I want you to be respectful to each other. That's the real issue. So there's a fine line between free speech, freedom of thought, and also being courteous and respectful to your fellow students. I really don't usually have a problem with that, but I will address it to you. And again, if I see something, I've actually had to kind of address this to students who even had views that I had, but they were kind of saying some things that could be offensive to other people, and I dealt with that and we corrected it. Okay, so all right, now having said that, what is the format of the class? The class is very straightforward. Once I open up week 1, it's going to work relatively the same every time. We're going to have a discussion, and if you get something wrong on a historical level, I'll politely correct it or address it. You won't lose points for it. Okay, so just be clear on that. And again, I'll just simply want you to, you can have a debate and a discussion, but it has to be respectful. And then you get points for that. Okay, full points. For video notes, you're going to watch my lectures. I have where you can just hear my voice and you'll see a PowerPoint. And then sometimes I also will put in videos of different lecturers or documentaries. And you have to write usually 2 points per video, meaning this. You could say Martin Luther was a Catholic clergyman. That's 1 point. And he began to question the teachings of the church or of his religion. 2nd point. Done. Okay, that's 2 points for that particular video. Something like that. Now you're going to see a lot of videos, and I always have students kind of have a meltdown when they see all of these videos, okay? Keep in mind that they are usually in 15-minute increments, and if you add up all the time between the documentaries and my lectures, they're usually not longer and sometimes shorter than if you were sitting through an entire lecture from me if we were having a face-to-face class, okay? So keep that in mind. This is a sort of a cram course, so we're still doing a lot each semester, each week, and it's because it's not, it is a cram course. We have different levels. One of my other classes, it's like a whole month semester in one. Here, we still are going to be packing in a lot, okay? And so what you'll also see is that I don't expect you to memorize a lot. You have to do a lot. And so here I reward effort in terms of people who keep up with the work. The information we cover is astounding, and you will maybe be a little overwhelmed each week over just like us covering so many different things. What I want you to do is actually kind of enjoy it and just realize that you're not going to probably remember all this, most likely not through this one class, but later on you will have something in your memory about a country, and you might be able to pay attention better to something on the news or in a discussion and so on. The exams and the exam and the final, there's one exam and one final, bear very little weight on your overall grade, okay? The real issue is just keeping up the work. And then that leads me to Sundays. Every Sunday we have papers to write. When I say it can be 1 page for a topic, I mean that. But if you want full points, you got to make the 1 page full and full of content, addressing simply what I'm asking. I'm so straightforward and simple. Sometimes students feel nervous because they're looking for something to be tricky. I'm not expecting you to write in a special form. Basically, I want you to spell check and a grammar check. If it's so hard to understand you that your writing is that bad, then I will address it. But otherwise, this is not an English class. So I'm going to look for the content. You can use the notes that you jot down for the lectures to help you write and sometimes regurgitate information into the essay form. The idea for me is to give you a little bit of repetition to make something be impressed upon your mind that I think is important, okay? And so that's it. And if you follow that routine every week, that's the key to success. Many of my students most of my students that stick out in my class get A's and B's, okay? And C's are usually if they fall behind in work for whatever reason, okay? Yeah, that's what I wanted to address. Second of all, in terms of the workload, and also communication with me, I'm very fair, and I like to be open with you guys. I like to be able to communicate. I normally would not give out my phone number, of course, and encourage texting in a face-to-face class, okay? But for an online setting, it's the best way for us to get and communicate. Now, I'm a single dad. Admittedly, my daughter is actually 18 and going to college this year herself. But I still have, household responsibilities. I have another job that I often work 10 hours a day at a child center. I'm trying to pull back from that work so I can focus more on this one again. But I'm a busy person, but I make myself accessible. I encourage you to text me with questions or call me and leave messages as opposed to email, because it's easier for me to get a hold of you. Now, if I take more than 24 hours to get a hold of you when you try to contact me, something went wrong, please try to call me again or text me again. I don't feel annoyed by a persistent student, okay? Maybe I didn't get the text. That does happen sometimes. Sometimes I confuse one student with another. So that's one other important thing is when you contact me, I need your name and the class that you're in. I teach more than one online class. So make that clear for me, please. And I'll always work with you. I mean, again, I went through a lot of things and struggles and, in college. So I'm very empathetic to those of you who are working hard, have families sometimes to juggle. It could be simple as having heartache over a relationship failure. These are real things that distract us from school. And you don't have to explain your personal life to me. But you need to work with me. I can't know what's going on with you or what to do. This one speaker in my high school government class many years ago said, people judge us by our actions, not our intentions. If you're not participating in the class, you're not turning in work or quality work, and you're kind of barely making anything, your actions for me is that you're not being a quality student at the moment. But you might have good reason. Well, I don't magically know if there's a good reason or not. And again, you can be personal. You can call me up, say, Mr. Pollock, I have some personal things that are really causing me some problems, and let's address it, and let's come up with a plan that's realistic to keep you in my class, still doing work, but maybe with some adjustment due to whatever circumstances you have, okay? But this requires you to communicate. I also want to encourage you, this is kind of a longer video. Right now I'm seeing that we're at 12 minutes. Well, this is your professor being in communication with you. You need to watch my videos from the beginning to the end. I often will see where I leave an important set of instructions to students, and then I get emails or phone calls asking questions that were actually stated in the video, and then they admit to me, oh, they didn't want to watch the whole thing. Well, maybe I'm not that exciting, but this is a part of the class. So my announcements, when I do like this, they're for a reason, okay? And I want you to watch them, and I want you to watch all the videos from the beginning to the end. This is something that I really want to emphasize. And let's see, was there anything else? Oh yes, the My History Lab. The textbooks are now in. I need to provide a link to give you access to the My History Lab also through my Blackboard. I have not been able to do that yet. I'll make an announcement when that happens. I'll show you how to make the link. If you are broke right now, the My History Lab will give you free access to the e-text for up to 15 days, okay? And so we'll get to that by this weekend. So I will be opening up week 1 this weekend, maybe even Saturday. And I should have something to help link up and explain more about the My History Lab by then, okay? So that's it for now. You guys have time, before class starts, but I do work a lot this week. But you can call me any day now. It means call me anytime or text me, and I will try to get back a hold of you on my lunch break if you have any question coming before class starts, okay? So that's it. I am Mr. Pollock. I'm here for you, and get ready to learn. All right.